Ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor. I got a late start today, and the reason I got a late start today is that I did something that I don't think I've ever done it. I hear a lot of people that talk on their YouTube channels about how they've got inside sources and how they've spoke to this person on the phone and this person and that type of thing. Well, I don't really have any inside sources, but for the first time, and while I'm here, I may as well say this. I don't know anyone at Ripple. I've never spoken to anyone at Ripple. I don't know anyone affiliated with any digital asset token at all. Never have met anyone at all. But I did. I happened to have a conversation this morning with someone. I'm not going to say what company, but with a major company out of New York City. I did have a conversation with someone, and I'm not going to get into any details of that conversation at all, other than to tell you that everything that I have believed in my gut, combined with my education and my study and my reading and everything that I've put together, I feel like a lot of the things that I've always thought were about digital assets and where this is all going and my reasons for being optimistic, it was all confirmed for me in that conversation. That's the way I left that conversation. And so I'm as positive and excited as ever as I go into today, because I believe, and I'm not talking about any kind of insider information or anything like that. It's nothing like that. I'm just talking about the general premise of why we're all here. I'm as optimistic after that phone call as I've ever been. Okay, moving along. This is from XRP Crypto Wolf. Over 1.25 billion XRP in total was moved by Ripple in less than 1 hour. It really makes you wonder what they are up to with all these huge transfers. And he's showing a transfer from XRPL Monitor. And this is just one of the many things that's so cool about digital assets, the transparency and the fact that we can see all of this happen. And the fact that we can see how cheap it is and how fast it happens and all of this, it's really amazing. These are amazing times we're in. And then Darth Ripple sent me something similar at Ripple Darth. $463 million transferred from Ripple to Bitstamp. What a coincidence. Bitstamp just partnered with this Swiss bank, which makes that very interesting. And so it's interesting. There's a lot of money being moved around, folks. I mean, there's things happening back there. If only we knew the exact details, wouldn't it be interesting? Okay, now this is huge, folks. In the past, the CEO of SBI Holdings has made it very clear that he is not only SBI is an owner in Ripple and they're an owner in R3. And remember, a while back, Ripple and R3 were in a lawsuit, and more or less, reading between the lines, the CEO of SBI got them together and said, look, y'all settle this lawsuit and then we can worry about making money. That's more or less what I observed. And so now this article comes out. Japanese financial services giant SBI Holdings and blockchain consortium startup R3 have formed a joint venture to boost the adoption of R3's Corda platform in Japan and beyond. And remember, and I won't read this part of it, but remember, just a short time ago, the Corda, I believe it was called Settler, that R3 announced that they will be settling through on that Corda platform through XRP. It will be their first digital asset. And so now SBI is getting together with them to boost the adoption of that Corda platform. So this is huge. I'll read to you a little bit of it. Japanese financial services giant SBI Holdings and blockchain consortium startup R3 have formed a joint venture to boost the adoption of R3's Corda platform in Japan and beyond. Announcing the news on Tuesday, SBI said that the new venture, SBI R3 Japan, will be setting up and licensing the Corda platform for new customers, as well as providing collaboration with R3's global offices and other Corda partners. Eventually, the plan is to expand the business across the Eastern Asian region. Wow, we're living in exciting times, people. All right. Now, Hoder was able to help me out with this. This is something that happened to me, and I wanted to make sure I addressed it on here so to clear it up. My TipBot balance on the app, okay, it showed a negative balance, and so and I put this out on Twitter because I really didn't know what this was. I didn't know what was going on, and so Hoder replied to it and gave me a response that Wheat Say Win, who created this thing, had given to this, so that everybody understands what the deal was. There was a problem during some maintenance. Not all users end up with a positive balance. The ILP packet balance reporting was off for a few days during maintenance, and the packets reported in the meantime were actually higher than the amount settled after the maintenance. So this guy is the sharpest of the sharp, and so he's all over it. So I just wanted to make sure nobody was freaked out by anything. This guy is a very smart guy, and he's all over this. So there you go. All right, this is from Sergeant Obi-Wan at SGTOBWAN. Bitcoin, BTC, and other cryptocurrencies can now be credited to Uber app. I missed this yesterday, but you can now use digital assets at Domino's, IHOP, and Uber through Vendit. Wow, guys, adoption and use cases growing. This is so, I mean, people, this is all happening drip, 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 drip. And just feel great about where you are, because even though we've been in this bear market for a while, if you look at the developments and where the money is going and everything that's being worked on, it's all a build up to something really, really massive. And so don't do anything other than either hold, or you can do what the digital asset investor is doing, which is buying into these dips. And I'll tell you something as a side note. You may not realize there's one worse feeling than being in a bear market for over a year. There's only one feeling that is worse, especially coming from $3.50 down to 28 cents, I believe it was yesterday. There's one feeling that's worse than that some of you may not know about, but I do because I've been there. And that worst feeling is when you went through a bear market and you knew how cheap things were, and then you have a bull market and you realize that you did not buy the dips and you could have, and you remember how cheaply you could have bought some of those digital assets. That is a worse feeling. And I've talked to my father about this. He's experienced it as well. Well, I'm not going to live through that again. I am scooping up the deals while the deals are here. Moving along. This is hilarious to me because this is an article from Bloomberg. U.S. Treasury set to borrow $1 trillion for a second year to finance the deficit. Now, if Bloomberg was writing this same article about anything having to do with Bitcoin or cryptocurrencies, it would have said Ponzi scheme is financing their Ponzi scheme with another $1 trillion to finance it or whatever. But here, the ultimate Ponzi scheme, the Ponzi scheme to own all Ponzi schemes, which is the U.S., the financial deficit of the United States, they act like this is just normal. This is just the normal course of business. The U.S. Treasury is going to borrow $1 trillion for a second year to finance the debt, but that's okay. I mean, because that's legitimate finance when you're making your entire living, building an entire country on unsustainable debts, that's all legitimate. Because the traditional banking system is involved in this, and the Federal Reserve, and they're all legitimate. And therefore, this unsustainable, ridiculous, it's almost like a circus, the debt that they're running up. That's all legitimate. Bloomberg sees that as all completely legitimate. But transparent digital assets that you can see them move. Imagine if you had a Federal Reserve where you could see how much money is there using the blockchain. You can see where it's being moved from this point to this point, and it would be impossible to hide anything. Imagine how much better the world would be when the politicians could not get away with what they've been getting away with. It would be a much better world, and that's why blockchain is going to catch on and has caught on. Okay, moving along. Let's show you some more ridiculous government. This is from Abacus Journal, not New York. Crypto unfriendly. Why New York won't be the center of crypto innovation and leadership. And especially to you young people out there, if you want to see how you destroy business in a city or a country, just overregulate them and put more and more regulations and laws than are even make any sense. And you will make those businesses run from you as much as they can, and they will go to other countries and other states. New York is showing you how to do it. They give here an overview of the bit license that you have to get in New York to run a business. And it just tells you a few of the things. Virtual currency transmission. Now, remember, all this is done under the auspices of, we're here to protect the citizens and all of this. Well, let me show you what's not for the protection of the citizens. The application fee, just the application fee for this, folks, for a bit license is $5,000. And the applicant must complete a 31-page application form. Think about how many smart entrepreneurs will not even apply because of that one thing right there, and will go to another city or another country or another state just to avoid this. It's ridiculous, and this is part of what has destroyed the United States over time in terms of business, is the overreach of governments and over-regulation and over everything, and it's all done by politicians in the name of, oh, we're trying to protect you. Meanwhile, they're getting rich while these kind of restrictions are put on those of us that are trying to make money the honest way. It's ridiculous. So I'm not going to go through all the rest of this. You can go and check out this article, but it just makes you sick. I want to give a shout out here. A guy that I followed is King Solomon at XRP_Al. He told me, he said, thank you so much for the follow. I listen to you every day, a bit of inspiration for my drive to work and drive home. Much appreciated. Keep up the great work. Inserting cinnamon below. Thought that was funny. So, hello, King Solomon. I'm now following you. I also wanted to show you this. Now, this is from Danny XRP ADA. He must be a Cardano guy as well. And as a side note, the digital asset investor bought some Cardano this morning on the dip. I think that Cardano, and let me tell you why. Cardano, first of all, is cheap. It's a smart contract platform with very smart people that are working on it. The reason I bought Cardano is because a lot of these digital assets have been on the move lately, like Tron and Holochain and some of these others. They've been on the move recently. Cardano has not been on the move really. For that reason, Cardano, because I see all the things they're working on behind the scenes. I watch some of the Charles Hoskinson videos. I like to buy the things that are not moving right now, because that's how the money's made. When everybody's looking at something else and they're over there buying something else, you go and buy the thing that's not moving. Okay. This chart says it all. And if you want to follow him, it's at Daniel and then ZEREZGHI. But I've shown you a similar chart, but this one puts some words to it that I thought were kind of funny. It's the different stages, the Wall Street cheat sheet, and it's the different phases of these different markets. And so let's say this was December of last year for digital assets. Down here, I think we've seen all this anger. Who shorted the market? Why did the government allow this to happen? Well, that's more like Wall Street talking. In digital assets, we go through it and take our licks, but we're not asking for bailouts. Capitulation, here's something somebody says, I'm getting 100% out of the markets. I can't afford to lose more. Depression, my retirement money is lost. How can we pay for all this new stuff? I'm an idiot. Well, and then when it starts to go back up, this is a sucker's rally. I'm seeing a lot of this type thing right here on Twitter these days. I'm even seeing this from people who used to be actively in the community who are now not very active, and they only show up to say negative things. But that's okay, because that tells me that we're closer to something like this. When I see those kind of comments, I get excited. Okay, moving along. Finally, I wanted to show you this. And this is, even though Warren Buffett says he's anti-Bitcoin and all, you better believe this guy somewhere, somehow is involved in picking up a few Bitcoins. That's my opinion. I think for sure he's scooping up a few. His famous quote is, be fearful when others are greedy, and greedy when others are fearful. And this is from XRP Veteran, at XRP_Veteran. And he got this graphic from, I guess this is alternativeme.me. But I thought this was interesting. I haven't seen this before. Fear and Greed Index, multifactorial crypto market sentiment analysis. Extreme fear. Now, it says that we're in this. Now, I can feel it. I mean, I see the people in the drop-off and the people in the community and all. Extreme fear. Well, the way and this is their fear gauge. We've been in this a long time, and I understand a lot of people being unable to take this market and what we're in. But like I've told you before, this isn't the first rodeo for this. This has happened many times before, and it'll happen many times down the road. But for some of you out there, I'm one of the ones that, yes, it makes me sick to watch this, because it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense to me. It doesn't make any sense to you. But right about the time that you're sick of it not making sense is when this is going to take off. And so you've got two options, really. Well, and I'm taking out the third option, the idea of selling. That's a ridiculous option. If you've been listening and you've been paying attention in the XRP community, that's the bad option. The two options that are left on the table is, one, you can do what the digital asset investor does, and that is buy into these dips, because I'm more confident than ever of what's coming. Your second option, and this might be for a lot of you, is to turn it off. Turn off all the YouTube and the Twitter and walk away from it. Make sure your digital assets are safe and secure, and walk away from it for a while. Go do something fun with your family. Go on vacation. Go do your thing. That's okay. I walked away for about a year and a half, I think, and thought that I was wrong about all this at one time back in about, I think it was 2015. And I woke up one day and realized I was not wrong, and I am not wrong. I'm the digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe. Hit the like button and tell your friends and family that the fear gauge is in the extreme fear territory, but that's okay. Just walk away from it. Make sure your things are secure and walk away from it for a while. It'll be okay. We'll be here when you get back. Thank you for listening.